Hello and welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast. I'm Phil,
And I'm Chris.
and we're going to talk about a couple of pretty cool things today: how to determine the sex of your birds, banding your pigeons, and the all fun scammers on Facebook. So let's jump into sexing the birds. And Chris, I want to hear before we get into all the different ways. What is your guaranteed or most proven method, I guess, that you use if you have to determine the sex of your birds when it comes to pairing or whatever reason?
Time.
Age, like let the birds get old, just sit there.
Yeah, time. Yeah, no, they'll lay an egg eventually if it's a hen. But no,
Well, that's
my
that's waiting.
observation. I mean, the only real way I can tell is if I see them, if they're dancing and they're boys acting like boys and girls act like girls. And that just, it takes time. I don't know. There's a lot of ways that they say you can do it. Most of it seems like witchcraft to me. I don't know.
It's definitely that old wives' tale kind of stuff. But some people really swear by some, people like, that's your method, and some people have a method that they just, no matter how funny it is, they stick with it. I mean, but I would agree with you. I would say that, yeah, even if it's a long time, but basically wait until they get sexually mature enough to either put on a show and a dance or lay an egg. Do you try to separate it all? Like, are you keeping your cockbirds and your hens kind of separated, or once you figure one out, are you putting it in a different area?
Yeah, I kind of just let them pair up, and if I keep them all together, and as they go, I'll pick pairs if I want to use them for breeding, or if they go outside to fly, then it doesn't really matter what sex they are.
Yeah.
Until they're done with their job, until they're done flying, it won't matter. They're just birds.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to read off some of these. This is what happens if you Google how to sex a pigeon, and some of these, are kind of new to me even. It's some I've heard before, but one of my favorites right here is take a nickel-sized magnet glued to a piece of fishing twine, hold the pigeon very still, hold the magnet with the string over its head. So if the magnet swings in a straight line, that's a cockbird. If it was a hen, it would swing around in a circular motion. So, have you ever tried this one?
No, I can't say that I have. If I would have heard that said out loud in a group setting, I would probably think somebody was trying to mess with my head.
Right? Oh, look, that guy actually went and got a magnet and a string.
I showed up to the hardware store. What do you need a magnet? Well, first, let me know what you're doing, and then we'll get you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Ace Hardware always wants to know what you're doing before they sell you anything.
I don't even want to tell you right now. You're gonna think I'm crazy. I'm looking for a pigeon. I'm trying to sex a pigeon.
So I do kind of want to try it. Just it'd be interesting to try all these little weird ways and just see what's kind of coming up on it. One things they say is size. They say typically the cockbirds will be larger, but at that point it's like you said, you're kind of waiting so long that at that point they should almost be driving or laying eggs. The female eyes tend to look rounder, and the male eyes are more oval or almond shaped.
Ooh.
So
I guess I never. So on the eyes, and when they're that young, anyways, you don't really have that the ring around there, but you can tell by the ring around their eyes too on an older bird.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, unless you get a really heavily bred hen that's got, but then you can tell her apart. A hen is a different, especially on a racer. A hen is a different shape than a cockbird.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe, but they're just obviously different. You get two 6-month-old birds next to each other, they're obviously different.
And I'm sure that somebody who's been seeing birds for a long time, also, it just kind of becomes easier to spot, at younger ages and things like that. I mean, you got those people, you've seen those videos of those people who are sexing baby chickens on that assembly line.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, that's, I don't know, I'm like, are you serious? Or are you just like playing the 50-50 game and just checking some chicks over here? I mean, they can do that quick. So, I mean, you do
Well,
that all day.
they're vent sexing them.
Is that how they do that? Okay.
Yep. They're vent
Which
sexing.
that's another way that you can, do with pigeons.
There's
young
also
age.
in the fowl, you've got when you cross them, you take a short feathered bird, like a hard feathered bird,
Mhm.
and a soft feathered bird, and you cross them, and the feathers will grow in such a way that you can sex them that way too, because
Huh.
it grows unevenly. It's a hatchery cross that they're doing that with, so that they can right away they can tell, does it go to the
Right.
production line, or does it go to
Yeah.
and they send them off that way. So that's pretty cool too. But in pigeons, it's not like that.
No.
It's not. Nah.
I mean, and so another way is, and I've had this told me before. So this only works when the pigeon is like 2 months old or roundabout. You bird's in your hand, and you tip the bird forward and back, and if the tail dips down, it's supposed to be a hen. If it flips up, it's supposed to be a cockbird. And we've talked about that before, and you've heard it the same thing, except that it was reversed, that if the tail tips down, you were told it was a cockbird. And so, sorry, I don't know which one to believe on that one, because we've both been fed something.
Well, and there was also in there was a discussion about the difference between a flown bird's tail and an unflown bird's tail, and the balance and this and that.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a lot going on.
Right.
It's very unclear to me, but I do know that they said if that bird tips its tail down, I think it was supposed to be a hen, or no, it was supposed to be a cockbird. Yeah, but I think we got that backwards.
Okay. And then you got the claws. So take a look at the claws. The male's side claw is supposed to be the same length as its forward-facing claws. The female's side claw is supposed to be shorter than the front-facing claws.
Now I can see that, and I did see a difference when they were showing me that. I did see a difference in it. It's subtle, but if you have a male and a female to compare, it's obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not the same.
And then one that I'm trying to get good at right now, because this is a method that I do believe works. A friend down in Tucson who has a pigeon business, and she has a lot of birds, and she can sex a bird by feeling the pelvic bone. We get those 2 points below the vent, and the wider ones are for eggs to pass through. So if you can get a finger in between those 2 points, then you know it's wide enough to be a hen. Then if you can't, then you know it's narrow and it's a cockbird. And you also got to be careful when you hold the bird when you're doing that, because if you're squeezing the back of the bird, you can actually make that all seem like a cockbird because you're squeezing it closer together. And that's one I want to get better at doing. That one I just kind of learned up on that one, and that seems like it makes sense. It's physically wider for an egg to pass. I haven't really had a chance to go through a ton of birds with it yet, but it's definitely something, whenever I'm handling my birds, the first thing I usually go for is to feel the keel. And now it's to just kind of go in there and also feel those 2 points right there and just get familiarized with it.
Are the birds consenting to this?
They have no choice, so yes.
Oh, so they're subjective.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Yes. Yeah, that's the life of a pigeon, though. I mean, it's the whole, they mate for life. It's like, not in this world. Like they mate with who we think would be the best mate for them.
As a pigeon man said not too long ago, they get to learn to love the one they're with.
That's right. Yeah, I like that, man. I like that when he said that. That was good. That's that old classic rock song, right? Love the one you're with.
Yeah, no, so you can, that's a whole other topic, I guess.
But yeah, so for me, I guess I'm the same way. Like when I really want to determine the sex of a bird when it comes to pairing birds up, I got my show cages. I'll throw them in the show cages. As soon as one starts doing a dance, I'll black zip tie his foot. That's what I do for unknown birds that I'm trying to determine the sex. And if it's a cock bird, it gets the black zip tie on its foot. And that way I know that one's a cock bird. And then I can actually use that cock bird to help me determine if I have other cock birds or hens by putting them next to other birds that I think you might react to. And that's kind of, you can't do that when they're young.
Some birds don't like certain birds. They just won't even monkey with them.
Yeah, and
you got to have the right hen to get them going.
Mm-hmm.
Some like this black powder I got, I'm 100% sure it's a boy. It acted like a hen for a long time. It was just sitting around next to everything, kind of chill. Well, I think it was just trying to be slick, like just pick up chicks under the radar, because now he's really doing his thing.
So I guess really when it comes down to it, and there's probably a lot more ways of sexing a bird. I mean, depending on like full moons and when the last rained and all that stuff, but these are the kind of the big ones that I would say are kind of worth messing with. I mean, the Magna one seems kind of like bar humor, but maybe it's super legit. I mean, it definitely seems like it's an older style of doing it, so maybe it works. I don't know, I've never really done it.
Well, with the magnets of today, man, I wonder, is the magnet gonna stick to the pigeon's forehead?
Yeah, I know. When we were first talking about it, I remember I'll go grab my fishing magnet. It's like 1,000-pound pole. Just suck that baby right up in there.
They'll stick to the side of the coop.
Man, I wonder, because we did kind of, I wonder if there is. I should look into that too, because I don't know. But if that's the idea, then I wonder if they really do have any kind of magnetic properties going on up there in their head. If it can really make a magnet react differently, there'd have to be, right? Or iron or something.
See, and that's the thing, because there's a theory behind the homing too.
Yeah.
That says that they home because of magnetic properties and yada yada yada. Well, I mean, that could be a supporting theory if it was actually legit. We're gonna have to do this, like we're gonna have to do a YouTube short or something on this, and just,
right. You grab 3 birds that what the sex is, and I'll grab 3, and
so
we'll find an average.
And then we'll just go on Amazon and we'll start buying all of the magnets.
Yes.
And we'll see.
Sell them as these magnets are specifically for sexing pigeons.
Right. And we're just gonna buy it. We'll just go on there and we'll start with the lowest one first, and we'll see how much magnet it takes to stick to a pigeon.
Oh man. In some of the old American Pigeon Journal magazines, they sell these things called color wheels, where it guarantees you if you mix this and this and this, what you're gonna get as a mix and a color.
You think that would work with rollers?
Dude, I'm surprised that would work with anything like genetics. I mean, boy, that's a totally different can of worms right there. But
they come out pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fun game to play with, but I mean, it's, for me, honestly, it's a total crapshoot. I think these would look cool together, and I like all looks of all pigeons, so I'm always happy with what I get, so it works out for me.
Right. I think, man, we need one of them color experts on here to just yap about the colors for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, colors and genetics, that'll be a good one. That'll be a good one.
So I can just kick back, soak it all up.
And then, we guarantee that if you listen to that one, you'll be a genetics expert by the end of it. We got a guy.
That's right. And then I'm going to ask him which color flies the best.
Yes. Yeah, that's a thing, right?
I think
I know white doesn't seem to fly the best because it's kind of like a bullseye for birds of prey, but whatever.
Buddy, I'll tell you what. I want to tape a camera to one so bad. Just to see what they do. It's so cool. Anyway.
Well, let's talk about banding a little bit. How do you band your birds, and when do you band your birds, and where you get your bands at, and all that?
I currently use ARPU bands. Those are the plastic ones for the homers. And I use the NPA bands that I get from I get them off the NPA website. And those are for other breeds.
Okay.
And I've been banding a lot earlier than most people think I should. I do them like 5, 6, 7 days.
You get problems with them falling off?
No, I don't. I maybe have lost one, and that one was on like a bird that I was like, oh my god, you're so small. I just give it a shot. If it falls off, I'll put it back on.
Right.
But that was in with the rollers, and it was kind of crazy in there. There's tons of babies everywhere.
Yeah.
But on this here, no, I do them when they're just big enough to where it's tough to get them on.
Yep. Yeah. You don't want to have to be sitting there with a jar of Vaseline and a stick trying to pop a toe through, man. That's no fun for anybody.
Yeah, I've oiled them. I've spit on them. I've done all kinds of stuff. Whatever you can do to make it slippery.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used your buddy down in Tucson's her advice, and we use a feather for it's. That's what I use to
pull the toe through. I got
the
you.
hind toe through. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's handy. You can find that in a pinch. You don't have to go look for something cool. I think a crochet needle would work really good.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you had one laying around. But yeah, it's a little bit of work, but it you just got to be patient with it. First 4 times I did it, I thought I was gonna like pull the bird's toe off.
Oh man, yeah. Well, they're they're like rubber when they're that young. There's nothing really in there.
Yeah, or oh god, this is never gonna go all the way past. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna cut. There's all kinds of things you're thinking about, but
Yeah.
they're pretty safe as long as you do them before they're too old. 10 days, I think, is max. 10 days.
Oh, especially for homers. I mean, I don't even know how you would do that. I mean, I do mine 7 days. I start, and I've had them fall off, but I find them in the loft and find the bird and stick it back on there.
Well, but not all homers are the same though, man.
Growing wise.
No, just type wise. You get the big legs. There's smaller legs. There's
I got you.
Now I'm seeing some with feathered feet. They're not all the same, so the size of their feet's different.
Yeah.
And the rate of their growth is different too. I got some out there that are almost as they're almost as big as my king pigeons. And then I've got others like that one, that blue grizzle that you have. That's a small bird. It's got little feet,
Yeah.
So, and she's gonna throw probably stuff that has smaller feet.
And then
band them a little later.
That's another thing too. Like I've gotten bands online from China before that, they claim to be 7 millimeters for rollers or 8 millimeters for homers, and they're different. They too big, too small. Then I'll get bands from the NPA, which NPA has a great website where it has a list of all the different breeds and all the different size of bands. And they got, I don't know about all the breeds, but the pretty common breeds, a lot of fancy breeds and stuff. And you can get nice NPA bands from them. But it's a nice place to go to just as a reference for what size of band to get. But
if you get nervous, call Tim.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's legit. Yeah, they got.
If you get nervous, call Tim at the NPA and ask him, and he'll tell you probably the same thing we just told you, that there's a listing on the website, but
start there.
Yeah, start there first. But if you have questions, that's how I ended up talking to Tim when I got this, and this, and I want to know what size to put on them. I'm not exactly sure. So I ended up with 3 different sizes. I got 7s, 8s, and 10s.
Okay.
8s is homers, 7s is rollers,
Yep.
10s is kings.
Okay. Yeah, I never messed with kings. Yeah, those are pretty big. And you put your bands on upside down, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what the magic trick with that is?
I learned it on accident, but it makes perfect sense. I always hold the bird in my right hand, and I put it on with my left hand. And the first time I did it, I was all proud of myself. I got it on there without jerking the bird's toes off and stuff. And I put her up on Facebook and I say, yeehaw, here's my first bird. I put the band on upside down. Oops. And everybody says, no, man, that's cool, because when you pick the bird up and you fold his leg up so where you can look at his foot there, it's right side up then.
See.
It's not a show bird. You're not looking at it in the you're not reading it's out of a show cage.
Mhm.
You're gonna pick it up, you're gonna call off the number, and you're gonna basket the bird.
Yeah.
So it's upside down translates to right side up when you're looking at it.
Yeah, and if you're doing it for your own records and you're grabbing the bird to get its number, it's a lot easier than trying to look at the bird while it's on a perch or something. I got the first two numbers. What's the other ones? I mean, it does make a lot of sense to do it that way.
Especially like a size 7 band, you can't read those numbers.
Yeah,
you have to hold the bird.
Yeah, not a lot of room on there. Yeah, and then so you got that with the size. You're putting it on that way. Let's use this to lead into the next one. Have you ever used the beaded bands before?
Oh, beaded bands. I've been seeing a lot of beaded bands. I personally don't use them.
Yeah.
But I've been seeing a lot of beaded bands on the Facebook groups here on our local pages. And pay attention to that, because we don't use beaded bands. I mean, some folks may.
I've never even seen them like for sale over here. I mean, really,
it's a cultural thing, I think. And they're beautiful and all that stuff, but I've never seen them around here, and I don't think you're gonna see them around here.
Yeah. So let that be a red flag right now. Chris happens to be an expert at spotting scammers on Facebook, and we all use Facebook for the different pigeon groups that we belong to, and these guys that create these pages are just, it's so hard to tell. But I mean, Chris has developed a pretty good system of weeding these guys out, and sometimes it's pretty funny, man. You'll call them out, hey, what scam you got going today? And then they send you a picture of what they're doing, It's like, or that one of your, because you're also the admin on the Arizona Pigeon Connection page, and you put on there, the questions was like, are you a scammer? And the guy's like, yes.
So yeah, click yes to return to the main menu.
That's right. I'm like, that's funny when they actually reply back with that.
He was straight up.
So what do you look for? Like, what are some like tall tale signs? Because people, you don't want to get ripped off. You're just out there trying to buy a bird from somebody that they got pictures that look super legit. Their profile looks legit. Like, what are some red flags that are making it obvious to you?
Well, let's first start out by knowing that these people are just there to steal from you. And any admin, I think, that allows that to happen isn't a very good admin.
Right.
I'm going to do better than that. But anyway, that being said, so what I look for is new profiles. A lot of people have their profiles on lockdown. A lot of people like me, there's a few others that, when we have hobbies, we set up a profile specifically for whatever hobby that is. Because, if I had, I'm kind of like the crazy cat lady with my birds. Some people just don't understand. Some people don't get it. We have these profiles designed for like-minded people. Okay. But even then, most people put a little bit of effort into sharing something that they're interested in, so that people know that they're an actual real person. There's stuff like that I look for right away. If the profile isn't personalized, or it doesn't have something that they're showing off that's a real legit photo of something that they have, that raises something for me. 2 first names. If his name's Timothy John, it's probably not legit.
Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby, stuff like that. A lot of times they'll use a mildly famous person's name, because when you go to search their name and their posts, a lot of the other person's crap comes up, and it makes it real tough to sort through.
Yeah.
But what I do when I'm checking out these people is I'll go straight to the, oh boy, 10 minutes, look at there. I go right straight to the Facebook search, and I'll search that person's name, and I'll look for their posts. And a lot of time they'll have 7, 8, 10 different posts within the last 3 days on just as many groups with different pictures of the same, different pictures trying to sell different types of stuff in different locations. That's 100% way to, and right then I know that they're not legit. They're not actually selling in Oklahoma and Arizona and, in the UK. That's just wrong.
Yeah. And you had one that was got the UK and OK for Oklahoma mixed up too. I mean, little stuff. But one of the things that, we both do is whenever we kind of feel like this is kind of fishy, hey, because even they'll put a picture of like satinets up and call them something else.
Oh, those old German owls.
Yeah. And so we're like, that's a red flag. So I'll hit them up and be like, hey, man, how much? Where are you located? And no matter what they say, I got the money and I'm going to that place tomorrow. Right, to just kind of like, yeah, oh, you're 2,000 miles away, dude. I'm actually on my way there right now. That's so funny. Let's make this happen. Save me on some shipping, because that's what they want to do. They want you to Venmo them some money and tell you that they're going to ship them, and just make something.
Just first come, first serve. When they tell me that,
yeah.
Number one, I know they're in a hurry, and number two, ain't no bird in the world so important that if I can't come get it tomorrow,
right?
Just for me, shipping, that's a little bit different. Buy from reputable breeders only. Don't ship birds until you know what you're doing. Yeah. They're expensive. It's a little bit of work to get them, that kind of stuff. If you want to buy good birds from good people. Yeah. Don't go on Facebook looking at for lower pigeons or something like that. You're gonna run into some scams.
Yeah, and there's always classifieds, in the back of, purebred pigeon or racing pigeon digest or whatever, and there's good breeders there. Or if you do see someone online, talk to other people. If you do know other people that have bought from that person, that the people you talk to are legit. You know what I'm thinking right now, though, is that, because we do got listeners all over the world. I could just see some people like taking notes, like, oh man, I got to change this up. They're on to me for this. Listening to this right now, like up in their game. I mean, because some of their stuff does seem like workshopped.
It does. It totally does. Like, they have a group that's designed for this, because they always use the same names. They use the same photos. They're like, yo, look, I found this one. Nobody recognizes this guy. And it checks out on the Google Lens, because a lot of this stuff, you can totally tell they Googled it when they pulled this picture up, because that old German owl, those satinets, it pulls up as an old German owl. Stuff like that. It's like they have it's like the dark web PS job that they got,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just everybody, be smart about it. I mean, shows are a good place to buy, because you're there, a person's there, cash and bird, just swap. Anything online, always be careful about. And,
it's the best to buy what you can see and feel. If it doesn't feel good in the hand, don't buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And on another note, we just because we're kind of coming up on the clock here, Chris has put together a couple of pretty cool images for the All About Pigeons podcast logo for the podcast for the Facebook we're going to use. And we're going to be putting a poll up on the All About Pigeons podcast Facebook group, so you can get on there and vote for whatever image you think looks coolest, and we'll make that one the new image for the podcast. And of course, if you guys ever have any questions or comments or want to have a topic discussed, man, just throw it up there. We'd be happy to talk about it. And I know we talked about this on another podcast, but we're in the works with getting a couple of interviews going with some master breeders and some really experienced pigeon guys. So keep your eyes open for that one. Because you've been talking.
There are master breeders, and there are master. It's just us.
Yep. And yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good to get some real good experience to share with everybody else. And that's why we do this, is just to talk pigeons. We both like talking pigeons and stuff, but hopefully some of this stuff can be helpful to other people. And I know that if we get some of these really experienced guys on here,
Pigeon Club meeting helpful. Saturday.
That's right, the Arizona Pigeon Club. If for all the Arizona listeners, Prescott is where it's going to be at Saturday from 11 to 3. You can find it on the Arizona Pigeon Club Facebook. We have a lot of info there. Honestly, I put the flyer in a lot of different pigeon Facebook groups.
Hey, what did you come up with on your poll for that?
I put a poll out on the Arizona Pigeon Club to see if you had, what most people had was either racing homers, Birmingham rollers, fancy breeds, pets, and then I also put it, you could click I'm still looking for pigeons. But last I looked, it was tight between fancy breeds and racing homers. I was kind of surprised. I thought it would be between racing homers and rollers, because everybody's got those. Seems like everywhere you go down here, everyone's got those rollers and the racers. That's real popular breeds.
Well, I don't know that there are a whole lot of the roller guys in there.
In the club, yeah.
I thought it was interesting to see that there was a lot of racers.
Yeah.
Because racing is a pretty big draw, so that was cool to see that.
Yeah, no, that was it was interesting for sure. I mean, even how many fancy breeds, because I thought about breaking the fancy breeds down, but really, sometimes at a club show, somebody will pull up with a breed that I've only ever read about. And oh wow, I never even knew that somebody was breeding those down here. That's pretty cool.
It's like the Bugatti or
oh yeah, that trumpeter that was there.
It's
Bocari trumpeter.
Oh, Bocari is what it's called. Joe Hammonds told me.
That was a pretty cool looking bird. Yeah, it was big too, big bird. That was neat to see that.
Got an emo hairdo, big feathered feet. Look that one up. That's a neat one.
Yeah.
It's a oh boy, excuse me. That was rude. I got an alarm system here.
Mm-hmm.
No, they that's a cool breed. They said they fly. I don't know. It's an awful big bird.
Well, didn't you say when you were flying your Indian fantails, it looked like a towel flopping around in the wind?
Yes, fantails and Vorbergs. They look like a flying gym towel. They just kind of magic carpet around. They're not necessarily good flyers. The German owls, they fly good. They're quick.
Yeah.
Zippy little farts.
Yeah. And they look cool too. They kind of look like a little eagle flying around.
Yep. And then those horse thieves, horsemans, they're horseman powders, folks. Those guys, they fly good too, but they're very long.
Yeah, well, they're kind of, they're definitely a performing bird. That's flying is a big part of what they do.
Yeah, I like them. I want to cross them into a homer. There's a guy in Florida that does it, and he uses them because they always come back.
Okay.
So he'll because those powders will wander off.
Yeah.
If they get hooked up with another bird, they wander off. That's the whole point of the game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You're trying to steal the other guy's bird, right?
Yep.
And you're trying to steal the homing pigeons and stuff like that. But they cross these with a homer because they're using them to foster and stuff too. But so you always have homers in the loft with them. But then they go and they fly them out, and then they always come back. Hey, we got less than a minute to go.
Yeah, we're definitely up against the clock on this one. So, hey, everybody, thanks for listening. And keep your eye out for the next one. If you just follow on Spotify, then every time we come out with a new one, you'll be right up to speed with us. So,
and if you check the page every time at the same time, we'll always be there that time.
Yep, always. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, guys.